I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. We are joined by Mina Summers. Hi, Mina.
Hello.
Hey, thanks for coming on. Please introduce yourself to everybody.
Oh God, I'm always really terrible at introducing myself. But hello, my name is Mina Summers. I am a half fairy VTuber and a bakery owner. I own the Marigold Bakery.
That sounds really, really good right now. That's
Thank you.
So, how long have you been VTubing?
That's always such an odd question. I never know exactly how to answer this weirdly because I think I was kind of around and not doing a whole lot for a good 6 months or something before I actually, I feel like, became a proper VTuber.
Mm-hmm. So you kind of tested the waters a little bit, played around with it?
Kinda, yeah. I think I created my first model. It was the end of 2020, December.
So it's been a while since you actually got on the medium anyway.
Yeah, a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So what made you give it a try in the first place?
Okay, so there is someone on YouTube. She does these reviews. Her name is Natalie X Hunter, and she used to do them with a Vroid model. I think she still uses a Vroid model. I don't know why I said that in past tense. And she's definitely still doing reviews. Specifically, there was a lot of ReZero content of hers that I used to watch.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my introduction to this whole idea of VTubers, and then somehow I fell down the rabbit hole from there. And then somewhere in 2020, a friend had just offhandedly mentioned that, there's all these VTubers, they play all these games. Why is there not a VTuber who plays Ensemble Stars? Where's our Ensemble Stars VTuber? And I decided, I could do that. I could be the Ensemble Stars VTuber. I didn't do that.
So you volunteered for the job and then took another job.
Pretty much.
But it got you here, which is good for us and everybody, and you too, I imagine, because you're doing it now more than ever after 4 years.
Yeah, still here. Mm-hmm. Mom did not raise a quitter; she raised a procrastinator.
But she did it after thinking about it for a while.
Oh yes.
So what made the transition for you to kind of put the pedal to the metal a little bit and start twitching, streaming a little bit more?
Well, I think it started February. That was 2021. I made some friends finally in the whole VTubing sphere, and I was like, oh, cool. I could start doing this stuff, Mm-hmm. And then actually I didn't for several more months. Instead, I sat down and I wrote a bunch of scripts because when I first started out, I told myself, one, I'm going to definitely start doing mostly videos, like pre-scripted, recorded, that kind of stuff.
Right.
I thought that was going to be what I did. Mm-hmm. And again, it was supposed to be mostly about Ensemble Stars. And then again, I procrastinated that. I have maybe 10 scripts, some of which have been definitely touched up a lot since I first started, and some which I wrote and then never touched again.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, middle of the year or so, I met some new friends.
Yeah.
And it was quite a whirlwind. Because I was new to this little friend group, and they were fun, and everything was cool. And one of them said that, she wanted to be a VTuber too. And then we decided, oh, hey, you know what? Let's just get into this together. Yeah, we can do this. We can, do this together. And so my first few streams were with this little friend group, and it was mostly otome games because I like playing solo games, admittedly.
Yeah. And
story games at that.
Right.
So yeah, for a while there, it was just these few friends hanging around, helping me set things up, and they told me, no, Twitch is the way to go. Mm-hmm. Twitch is easier. You get started faster over there. And I'm like, okay, I guess Twitch is the way to go. And that's sort of how it started. Then I finally got back on Twitter.
Yeah. So you've had quite a roundabout way of getting here.
Oh, yes, and it's still going, I promise. There will be at least 3 more twists.
But are you pretty happy to how you've gotten started, restarted, and restarted again?
I think I'm happy
Yeah,
mostly. I'm
yeah.
gonna be honest. Most of my VTubing career has been a lot of happiness, underscored by a lot of random tragedy, and I'm
Uh,
like, yes,
yeah,
life, great thing it is.
yeah. Life will do that, and throw a lot of potholes in your way, and all your plans are right out the window. But but you have come back to it, so it must mean something pretty good to you.
Yes, I think mostly it means that I am bored and I need people to talk to. I jest.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've got it's going on pretty good for you. I mean, you got some folks who are coming back and following you, and that's always good to see. But have you always been someone who wanted that sort of attention?
I've always been kind of back and forth about it.
Hmm.
I generally describe myself as an introvert, but for someone who is an introvert, I'm also known to be very, very chatty. So yeah, I talk a lot, but I don't like being around a whole lot of people all of the time or a lot. Big events tend to kind of drain me of energy, and then I'm just like on vacation for the next 3 days
Mm,
mentally.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so I'm not sure I don't know. I don't know how to describe it other than that. I don't hate the attention, I guess. I mean my community is still on the smaller side and I'm pretty grateful for that. I think I like being able to know who it is when they come into chat, remembering the last time that they were there
Hmm.
and being able to greet them, ask how their life is and it feels more friendly, I guess.
Right, right, and more personal. I mean,
Yeah.
almost intimate in a way, in some ways, because you get to know a little bit more about them. They have a more one-to-one relationship with you as well.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. That's such a perfect way to describe it.
Yeah, yeah. The it's and um, you can harness kind of your energy in when you're doing this into not only your community but into the game that you're playing as well. So I imagine that really fits you pretty good once you get started.
I mean, again, I play mostly story games. A lot of games that essentially pacing isn't such a big deal. Like I can take 10-minute tangents and just talk to my chat.
Hmm.
I can just go entirely off schedule and just decide to do something totally different. I can choose to play the bad end and laugh about it.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you really you've allowed yourself a lot of I wouldn't say wiggle room really, but a a wide horizon to choose from, and you get to choose your own level of comfort while you're doing it. That's pretty cool.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, yeah, that's pretty good. And has that? Do you think that might help you in dealing with people outside the internet, or has it crossed over that much for you?
Um, Honestly, I feel like I'm a completely different person outside of the internet.
Hmm. Um,
I don't know. There's a lot to be said about perceptions
mhm.
and the way that people view you when they actually meet you and what sort of perception one can get over the internet and really how much can one have an idea of another person. Like
Right,
in person, you dress a certain way, you walk a certain way, you stand a certain way. It all kind of gives people an idea of you.
right.
And on the internet, you don't get to see a lot of that. So a lot of what people judge me on is purely whatever little art aesthetics that I've got going on. Like I'm very very picky about the artwork that I get done and the sort of overlays that I use on stream and things like that.
Right.
And then also the way that you speak. Speaking has a huge impact on how people see you on the internet.
Oh yeah,
And also the
absolutely.
way you type, language, use of languages. It's amazing. If I
Oh,
could study, I would start studying all of this stuff.
well, really, and plus you're talking to people all over the world, and you're interacting with people all over the world. So, however, they have a perception of you and how you're seeing it. You're being seen through so many different eyes, and so
Yes, yes.
that every person has a different idea of who this VTuber is they're watching and enjoying.
Yes, exactly. And all of these perceptions are also colored by, biases that we all intrinsically have based on like cultural views
Mm.
or just some of your upbringing, class, even.
Yeah, yeah, and
It's all
all
fun stuff.
all of that stuff, and still though, um, sounds to me like with everything that's gone on with you said you've had some things outside of the VTuber sphere that have certainly affected you. Um, is this a escape for you?
Um, I don't know if I would say it's an escape exactly. It's just something fun I like to do. I've always juggled hobbies my whole life, and this is kind of just another hobby I'm juggling. For a while there, I went into this with, stars in my eyes thinking, "Oh, maybe I'll become one of those big famous VTubers."
Mm.
About 2 months in, I'm like, maybe I don't want that. Never mind. Never mind. Hobby is fine.
Yeah.
Chatting with people, being friends, that's good. I've never been very good at friends.
Mm.
In fact, IRL, I would say I have maybe 5 friends ever since I finished up school, because pretty much school, and the whole reason anyone was ever friends with me in school is that I took all the good notes.
Ah,
That really helped.
you were the,
And
you were
they
the
saw me every day.
you were the one we copied off of.
I was really good at cheating people through tests, and you know what? It was helping, so I feel good about it.
Yeah, I unfortunately I was guilty of doing that a couple times in high school, but it's way past the like 40 years past the time they could do anything about it. So uh, don't mess with my
Oh,
scripts,
yes.
guys. So you said you've written a bunch of scripts for what you originally wanted to do. Is that still in the back of your mind somewhere, wanting to do something with those?
Hopefully. Maybe not all of them. Some of them are a bit badly written, but there's also more scripts I've added to that since then.
Oh,
I keep telling myself that I will eventually try to transition into proper recorded videos. Whenever I have a set schedule in life, everything's a little bit up in the air. IRL, I'm trying to plan to go back to school.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I wish you the best on that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Because not only as some folks out there know, not only is it not exactly easy time wise, but it's not exactly easy funds wise or anything like that either.
Oh, yes, truly.
Yeah, you mortgage everything you owned just to get one class going and go from there. I'm still feeling the results of that from a couple of years ago. uh,
Well, I'm lucky on 2 fronts. I still have my family around me, and I also don't live in the USA. I live in Canada.
well, there you go. So you've got an edge there as far as that goes. So I hope you don't have the
Yes.
situation where the government changes it every 5 seconds. So,
No, definitely. They're not changing that often.
yeah, that's
But the
good.
government is. Oh, well, there's something. They're confused, I feel like.
Well, that's usual. But I'm talking about if you have to get student loans or anything,
Oh, yeah.
having to deal with that. But the fact that you're still working on this after all this time certainly means that you're enjoying yourself. What's do you like the most about VTubing right now?
Honestly, again, I think I just like the aspect of being able to share things that I love with other people.
Hmm.
At this point in my life, I mean, I'm not in school anymore, and most of the work that I've done since graduating school has all been freelance. There's been a lot of writing, a lot of baking. The bakery thing is not entirely a joke.
Hmm.
I do run a small cake studio in real life, so I
Nice.
sell a lot of baked goods. But it doesn't exactly put you in contact with a lot of people on, at least for any longer period of time. That's I mean, what? You plan a wedding cake, you do that in about 3 months at most. And yeah, that's not exactly enough time to become friends with someone. So I don't really get to meet a whole lot of new people anymore.
Uh-huh.
And at least through WeTubing and through being on the internet in general, I get to do that. I get to meet friends. I get to, find new hobbies, new interests, little pieces of media, video games, and anime. It's just stuff I love, and I get to then, share it with people, talk to them about it.
Yeah, You
and
you
hopefully convince them to love it too.
Yeah, well, you built a community is what you're doing. You build your own circle to be a part of, and which is great. I'm glad you're able to do that. I've got a question about the wedding cake thing. People people watch these shows on television. I'm sure it drives you
Oh yes.
crazy since you're a pro with this. And it's like people say, "Oh yeah, wedding cake. It's going to be done in 2 days." You just told me it's going to take it's months. I can't. I
Okay, well,
can't.
I mean, it's not like the actual making of the wedding cake. That is done. Depending really on how big the cake is, it can take up to 2 weeks, but I've usually done it in 1 week.
It's still a long time for somebody.
Yeah, it is still quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of planning. People are very rightfully quite picky about the details that they want for their wedding. There's a lot of back and forth and talking and meeting with them, talking to their wedding planners, getting things coordinated with like a florist and all of these smaller details. There's so much planning involved, and that takes a lot more time than some people understand. I've had clients really come up and say that, hey, listen, I have my wedding, it's next month. Can you do this 10-tier cake? And it's like, very politely, no.
10 tears. Oh my gosh, that's painful to me, and I can't imagine what it was for you to hear something like that.
Honestly, at this point, you just kind of blink, move on.
The whole aspect of the baking, is that something that you wanted to do early on, or is it something that you started as a kind of a hobby and it became a lot more than that?
Yeah, it started very much as a hobby. See, so my mother, she used to bake back when she was a teenager. She brought that into raising my siblings and I,
Mm.
and we kind of grew up on baking. And then at one point, she just kind of discovered edible glitter.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and then she decided that, okay, we no longer just bake, now we also decorate. We make really fancy cakes.
Ooh,
And so she did that actually, kind of on her own for a couple of years when I was in high school or
right.
so. And then my sister and I, when I was sort of in the middle of university and really bored, decided, hey, like this baking thing that mommy does, what if we take over and we make it a business? And my sister, because she was sick and tired in her career as well, she said, yeah, let's do that. So we did that.
Oh, and is that something that you're like, if you fully obviously you're still doing it, was it something that you realized that you really enjoyed doing once you got started?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think I've always enjoyed it. I enjoy the business part of it a bit less though.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I'm one of those people who's finally realized that, the whole don't monetize your hobbies is maybe a good rule to live by.
yeah, usually is. Despite what the wife wants. I'm.
Oh yeah.
You try to stay as much as possible, but the the fact that you're still into it after this time means that you are enjoying yourself, and you've kind of added that as an aspect to your VTuber character. Um, so
Oh,
so
that wasn't actually planned.
and it wasn't.
No, actually, the first little friend group that I had who kind of forced me into like finally getting into VTubing. It was one of their ideas. I don't even remember exactly how, but one person had just kind of pointed out that, yeah, you do this all the time. It's half of what you seem to talk about. You won't even talk about your school. You seem to be skipping schoolwork to be making these wedding cakes. Why don't you just say that your character is a baker? And I'm like, I can do that? Like, at first I wanted to keep a bit more distance between what I do IRL and my sort of online persona, but they're kind of right. I did talk about baking a lot.
Well, I mean, it's become a big part of your life too. I mean, it's a part of your upbringing, and certainly I mean, you're comfortable with talking about it, aren't you?
I mean, yeah, right until anyone tells me, how do you design a cake? At which point my standard answer has become, no one asks Bob Ross how he paints a picture.
That's true. And besides that, secrets. Don't give out any secrets about what you do, because I imagine you do have some. as an artiste. You have a few of them kept away that you're not going to tell anybody.
Oh yes, yes. I'm definitely going for mysterious artiste vibes.
Well, everybody's got their own way of doing things, and I'm sure you've got a couple different ways that you've learned over the years.
A few things, definitely. Honestly, I don't even mind giving the secrets out so much as it is just kind of a pain in the butt to explain to people how to decorate a cake. Every single cake is different. Every macaron is different. It's just each time that you do it, it's again, for wedding cakes, usually there is some sort of a plan, but even then I tell all of my clients that whatever they're picturing in their head, there is really no guarantee that I'm going to be able to make that 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe you're going to make it better.
Usually, yes. Thankfully, they have liked the stuff I've made.
Oh, we've seen the videos of people not liking stuff, and I'd rather just avoid that altogether. But the entire concept of it is kind of foreign to folks, and are because people say, "Oh, I bake cakes at home. It's an easy thing to do." I can't imagine none of these are ever an easy thing to do.
I mean, it depends.
Yeah.
I feel like when you love something and when there is no stress of other people's expectations, then certainly everything can be easy.
Yeah, and maybe from the shows that the wife watches, like the Bridezilla things, I'm a little bit scarred from that.
Oh no, that's fair. That's very fair.
Yeah. It's have you gotten to be such an artist with it that you're never quite satisfied with your cakes, or when you gift them out to them, you're like, okay, I'm done. This is it.
Oh no, that's my mother's job. I'm sure there's like some sort of motherly handbook out there that's like, be slightly dissatisfied with everything your children does because you are so certain that they can probably do better. So I leave that to her.
So when you're done, you're done.
When I'm done, generally, I'm usually quite proud of the work I've done.
Yeah.
Unless it's a black cake. I don't know, there's just something about the color black. It looks good.
Mm-hmm.
But on a cake, somehow, it makes me feel just a little bit sick.
Black, I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen an entirely really black cake. How is it
Black and gold is surprisingly popular.
Yeah, it'd be. I'm not going to ask you how, because I'm going to drive you crazy with it. I'm running it through my head, like, how would you even do the black? Everything is like always dark brown as much as you can. But that's, again, trade secrets. I'm not going to ask any trade secrets. But
trade secrets, indeed.
Yeah,
but I shall give you a hint. They sell pre-made black fondant.
Oh, well, that was a come down.
I mean, it's a nice, easy way. Saves you a lot of time and a lot of food color.
Yeah, I bet. You could have said it was some magical process that I'll never understand. Now I'm disappointed.
Sorry to disappoint. I promise there are many more magical aspects of baking, like French macarons.
Oh gosh, I don't even know how to pronounce that, let alone what's in them at this point. But that type of stuff.
I don't think I can tell you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that type of stuff is fascinating to me. That you're able to come up with not only, especially with the wedding cakes, not only come up with something that is something people want to eat in the first place, but to come up with the designs for it. That's pretty amazing stuff. I hope you realize how unique that is in that to have that ability.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Though I should warn you that it's not nearly as unique as you think it is.
Right. Well,
seriously, there's a lot of very talented artists out there, and I'm just glad to be one of them.
Well, congratulations on being able to do that, because if I tried to bake anything, it would resemble a frozen pizza. That would be about it.
You know what? Some frozen pizzas are very tasty.
Not when you set them on fire, like I do. I'm pretty good at that.
It's good to have multi-talents.
I like you. You put all the stuff in positive light.
Thank you. It's the depression.
Oh, know about that? How that goes too. Um, has has the has the streaming helped you with that a little bit?
No, but my doctor did.
Oh, does it? I mean, you can tell me to bug off if you want, but the it's not kind of a therapeutic thing for you to be there with people and have such a nice community to go to.
Uh, at the risk of sounding kind of callous, not really, because I really only want to go and stream when I am in a good mood and when, I feel like I can give good energy to everyone else.
Oh, that's not callous at all. That's that's realistic. That's a realistic and honest answer, which is anything all anybody can hope for, and it does sound to me like you're a very realistic person. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, and with with the channel going now, basically you've been on there for 4 years, over 4 years
hmm
probably at this point. Have you got any specific goal that you really want to do with your channel at the moment?
Okay, this is the silliest thing ever, but I've been trying to do this for the last, I guess, 2 years now. On Twitch, I'm just trying to hit 500 followers.
Mm. Well,
I
that's it.
keep getting really close, and then I'll be hit with like some sort of bot thing or another, and then, Twitch will do that thing where they just make a bunch of channels unfollow you because they're bots. And
Right.
I'm like, well, hope's dashed.
Yeah. Well,
Try again next year.
I can tell you right now you're 11 away.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for checking.
Yeah. Yeah. I realized that I hadn't done it yet, so now you're at 11. So it won't be too long now, folks. We're going to have all of the links that we could find for Mina in the description for this interview. So be sure and check out what
Oh,
Mina's
thank
got
you.
going on. So as far as the games themselves you have on, you describe what type of games. But which game right now are you streaming the most?
I've actually been in between a few games, mostly because I've got this very large backlog of Otome game demos
Mm-hmm.
that I keep telling myself I'm going to play, and then I don't play them on my free time. And
Mm-hmm.
so I figured I might as well just start streaming them. I can, try and advertise a bit for all of these cool upcoming games. I figured, yeah, that would be really, really neat.
Yeah. So you kind of hopping back and forth and picking as you go.
Pretty much, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
I do play things other than Otome games. I play visual novels in general, mostly,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes also JRPGs. I don't play any of those like big shooty games. I'm terrible. I have no aim.
One of us.
Yes, and my poor laptop. Uh, yeah, she's just not going to run that.
Again, one of us. Some of us just have no. See, I'm all switch-handed. I do some things left-handed, some things right-handed, which is absolutely
That's very
terrible.
cool.
Yeah, it is. Except you can't aim anything because you don't know which hand to use.
Oh, oh yes, that would indeed be a problem.
I call myself ambidextrous because I drop things with both hands.
That's good though. That's a really nice pun.
Yeah, it's certainly very descriptive of exactly how it goes for the most part. Um, so singing. Um,
Ah,
I know that we kind of discussed a little bit the singing part before we got a chance to talk to you all, kind of
yes.
here. If when did that get started for you?
Um, I have been told by my mother that I was pretty much born singing. I mean, not literally. As a baby, I'm pretty certain I didn't make enough sounds to form actual words,
Mm-hmm.
but apparently I spent my whole life sort of talking in sort of a sing-song tone,
Mm-hmm.
and I used to hum a lot, especially when I ate food that I really liked.
Mm.
That was how my mom knew that, oh, okay, good, she's gonna finish the food finally.
That's when the yum mode kicks in. you
Exactly.
hear the
But yeah, so I've sort of always kind of liked singing and music, but I didn't really do a lot of singing. I joined a choir, middle school choir, and I never went to any of the performances. It's just that I live in Canada, and you were required to go outside during the winter at lunch break, and I didn't want to go outside because I really don't like the cold. So choir was an excuse to stay indoors at least twice a week.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to the point where you enjoyed it, I imagine, singing anyway.
Yeah, I do enjoy singing.
Yeah.
The people aspect a bit less. I don't know, I don't really like singing in front of people too much. I feel like there's a bit of a distance when I'm streaming, so that kind of makes it a bit more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got pretty good at that.
I can
kind of. Well, I mean, I'm not actually good.
Well, now, and then we'll be the judge of that. You just keep singing, and we'll listen. But the I can understand what you're saying as far as, singing is one thing. Singing for other people is a different thing. And
Yes.
having that confidence is not easy to obtain. And once you do, you think you're going to be able to overcome that over time?
You know what? As long as the people I'm singing in front of are never going to be my family, I'm sure I'll get there somewhere.
I love that line. as long as I'm not related to anybody who I'm going to sing for, it's gonna be okay. I can imagine that. Absolutely. So are we going to be seeing some covers here pretty soon?
I've got a couple in the works. I think one hopefully should come out before this year ends. Admittedly, I've been working on a few of these for a bit too long and haven't made a whole lot of progress.
Mm,
It's been a messy year.
yeah,
I said that about last year too, and I think the year before that. But life.
yeah. It gets really messy if you leave it to its own devices. That's for sure. Even if you don't. But I am very, very glad that we've been able to talk and meet you over this little period of time, and I look forward to seeing what you have to offer here.
Oh, thank you.
Folks
You're
need,
very, very sweet.
well, I don't know about that. Don't tell my wife. The she'll be expecting stuff now. No, really, I do appreciate it because obviously this has become a big part of what you're doing. This and everything you do, and I really hope it all comes together for you. And you get some time where you can just sit and enjoy the whole thing, for crying out loud.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I
Yeah,
hope so too.
yeah,
I think the later half of this year should be a bit clearer finally because I'm, still kind of figuring out the school plans, but at least I know the school plans aren't happening right now, so
yeah.
that gives me a bit of free time.
There you go. And are you taking commissions for cakes?
Um, I don't really think you want me to ship a cake, but I could probably do cookies.
Hey, that's something. Cookies are awfully good when they're
Yes, and they are shelf safe.
yeah. There you go. And then no, not around me. They're not. They ain't gonna make the shelf.
Oh goodness.
They're not gonna get that far, and they'll be gone before they make it. Mina, thank you so much for coming on. It's an absolute pleasure to talk with you. Um,
Oh no, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. You have been a lovely host.
oh,
Thank you.
well, thank you. I'm going to have all the links for the description of everything you've got going on in the description for this interview, and we'll get you on here again real soon when you get some a big event coming up. You let us know so we can let everybody know. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a lovely day.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.